discretion is advised.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the New to Wrestling Podcast After Dark. I am so excited to be here with you guys tonight. We have an extra special guest. I don't even know how to introduce this person. I'm so excited. They are one of the first wrestlers we met in person before getting on the show, and he is just as awesome in person as he is in all aspects of his life, in his wrestling career, in his personal life. He is Mad Awesome. Matt Awesome. Welcome to the show, Matt. It's so good to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. Man. Of course. I was anticipating this one. I wanted to do this one after I saw you guys interview my partner in crime, Jarett. Yes. And I'm like, you guys are a cool tandem. And I'm like, hey, why not? I wanna be a part of this.
Oh, well, we appreciate that, man. I know, literally, don't tell her anything.
I'm so excited to have you here because, like you said, we interviewed Jarett, your tag team partner, Uptown Boys for Life Girl, and we had sponsored your match at Jurassic Celebration, which was incredible. Once again, I will always shout out the Mecca and the community there, Bree Championship Wrestling, Shadow Wrestling. Love you, love everyone, the community, everyone there. I also wore, it's not a Crow shirt, but it is my Sting Crow shirt in honor because I know
Close
the
enough.
Crow is one of your favorite movies. And we're just so happy to have you here tonight.
Number two.
What would be number two?
Thank you.
Out of curiosity.
They always flip flop. It's either the Crow number one, Lost Boys number two, or Lost Boys number one, Crow number two. They flip flop.
Wow. Very, very kind of similar vibes though. Love that.
Favorite movies of all time.
Wow.
I have genre favorites too, but like those are my two top favorites.
Love that. I definitely one of my favorites as well. I was going to say too, I knew we would get along and we would cut it up just fine because I was watching some of your other interviews and you do this thing, and I hope this doesn't shatter the glass for you because I hope you always do this because I do this too, is that you always shout out your people and you'll like, yes. you name all the names and you'll be like, shout out. Like, cause I was talking to my roommate, hey Crystal, like I do the same thing. And I was like, and that's how I know because I do the same thing, and I love
that. You're gonna get plenty of that right now.
Love that. And also another thing was too, I was on your Instagram and I told Xavier before we started, I was like, I was bopping to like every musical choice you had on promos, on regular posts. I was like, wait, who is this? I'm looking up lyrics. I was like, the vibes are immaculate over here on your Instagram. I was vibing, and I was like, we're gonna cut it up. Like I
feel when I do my promos, I have to put music in the background. Like I can't do a promo without music in the background because to me it just feels like it's gonna fall flat. So not only do I go into my own personal playlist, I just see what's popular right now. Not only that, I have friends that do music. So here goes one for you right now. Shout out to Chael. I used his song for my montage of last year.
Nice.
And I put out a montage every year of what I've done, and his song was basically the song I used, which spoiler alert, that's my new theme song.
Hey.
Oh,
so
amazing!
When I wrestle singles, that's my new theme song. But my tag team music is always going to be French Montana. Shout out to French. We grew up in the same project. So.
I love that. I love that so much because it feels like music is very important to you because you had also mentioned in an interview that when you did Puerto Rican Weekend last year, you were like you had made a point to mention that the playlist was bumping. You were like, I was repping my people. I had my flag. The playlist was bumping. I was having a great time. And you go on your page and like the music choices feel so like you just feel you in the room. Like obviously the post is your Instagram, it's your promos, but it's like it feels so intentional. It feels like like this is the one.
Yeah, if you really listen to like each song in the background of each promo, I do use a lot of my favorite artists. Like the one we did for the last weekend show for Battle Club Pro. I used was it Spaz from NERD because I'm a huge NERD fan.
Okay.
Saw them live before, so of course I'm like, I need to use NERD. So I'm like, I found the instrument. I sent that to Jarett. I'm like, because literally we're sitting in the room watching the Knicks game while I'm editing the promo,
Mm-hmm.
so I can have it up like literally the next day at 12 noon. And he's on one side of the living room in his house, and I'm in the dining room area, and I'm like, "What do you think about this song?" And I texted to him. He's like, across the room. He's like, I'm like,
that's how you know.
Did it, posted it up, yeah. And every song that I've used so far with our promos, he's like, make sure you do instrumental so we don't get pulled on the internet with it. I'm like, yeah, but there'll be certain countries that can't listen to it. In the US, they're gonna be able to hear everything.
Right.
Yeah.
So he was like, yeah, but still, instrumental. I'm like, all right, you got it. Because a lot of my personal ones, I'll put the lyrics in the background on purpose, because the lyric sometimes is an Easter egg to the promo.
Gotcha.
I try to put something like a song that's gonna match the promo very well.
Love that.
We love attention to detail, especially this one. She's here for the little bits and bobs that really I really do make a full complete package.
Yeah, and honestly, now I'm gonna be like really Googling lyrics to stuff and being like, what is he trying to tell me? I need to know this. I love that.
In fact, the promo I did for We Are Wrestling, it was for the scramble match that Jay Bougie stole my win. Prior to that show, the We Are Wrestling show before that, I had a medical emergency in the ring.
Oh yeah.
So the promo, I started off with the word breathe, and it zooms in with basically I chopped down the match into a few seconds, and I used the song from Fabolous, Breathe, in the background.
Yes.
So awesome. Basically that was the cliff note of what happened. Like, hey, I had an asthma attack in the middle of the ring. I stopped breathing slowly. And yeah, this song basically is, it kind of symbolizes what happened, and that this is my comeback and this is my redemption match. And I'm going to redeem myself to go on to bigger and better things. So yeah, that's why, like, you see, I use music to signify what I'm doing.
I love that. That's awesome. And like, I was gonna say two things. One, even your name, like Matt Awesome, and I think you had said like it's kind of like Matt Awesome. Like people are always saying, "Oh, Matt, that guy's awesome." And then it kind of gives like MC vibes. Like Killer Mike is like he kills a mic. You know what I mean? Like it gives that energy. So I love that kind of all comes to fruition. Oh, that is so cool. Just like unlocked in my brain. Love that. I was also going to say, because you brought it up, the asthma attack that you had in the ring, I don't know like how much you've talked about this or if you are willing to talk about this. But I do think it is so, because you had mentioned that, after that happened, like you worked really hard to like get your health right, your body right. You went to a pulmonologist, and we've talked many times on this show, because it's such an unfortunate thing for wrestlers like who have health problems like that. And there is no health insurance for wrestlers at this time, at least not in like, especially not in the independents. Like it's hard to get the care that you need to take care of your body. And I just thought that was so amazing that you brought that up. Like that you just like, you're like, I got to get my shit right because I want to continue doing this. I love this. And like, I need to take care of those things.
Yeah. It's important. I mean, wrestling is, it's an escape for me. Not only is it an escape, it's something I grew up loving. And I was always told that even though I may be an asthmatic, doesn't mean that I can't do what I want to do. I just have to pace myself. I just have to move about it differently. And when it came to wrestling, when I first started, I was pacing myself. I was doing well. And, things happened. Pandemic happened. And gained weight that I shouldn't have gained, and sure enough, it showed its ugly head that day against Rob Killjoy in the ring. And one thing I always do before a match is I take my asthma pump with me. I'll basically do a dose before I go in, and I give it to the referee. I always give it to the referee as a just in case policy.
Wow.
Right. And that night, I gave it to the ref. I gave it a ref Shady.
Wow.
And I'm like, Shady, hold this for me, just in case. If I need it, and I'll let you know. He was like, I got you. Sure enough, when I needed it, I couldn't really like reach up and say, give it to me, because I don't want the crowd to see that, of course. So I literally tugged on his pants, like on the bottom, like rolled like twice, and I rolled to the edge of the ring, and he handed it to me. So it was very secretively. He handed it to me. Mm-hmm. I rolled down and I went a little bit under the ring to like take a hit of it, and it wasn't working because it was more than just the asthma that was kicking in. I was kicking my ass basically at that moment. And sure enough, they stopped the match. Mm-hmm. They took me to an area where it was a lot more air. I was able to breathe. They were like, "We don't got to take you to the hospital. You're fine. Just relax. Here, a little bit, drink some water, calm yourself down." It was a mix of things. Besides the weight, it was a mix of things that basically put me to that position, and it was my asthma too. Right. And sure enough, after I spoke with the pulmonologist, he told me what I had to do, what I had to take care of, and I took it full steam ahead, and I started doing that. And then last year, September, I decided to start a whole fitness journey to keep myself, in tune with my body, in tune with my health. And I started working with Cesar Bononi. He's actually first Brazilian signed WWE superstar at one point. He wrestled for AEW. He wrestles still in the independents right now down in Florida. And he's also a fitness and nutritionist for not only wrestlers, but other people. So decided to work with him. And since I was like, 245, I'm down to 215 right now.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Just calorie deficit and working out. Motivation from him, motivation from my girl. She motivates me on a daily basis about it.
Yeah.
She makes sure there's greens on my plate.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's got to do it.
Yeah. And it's just to keep me in tune with what I want to do. And I love the business so much. Why not? And even Santana's been working with him, and Santana basically, look at him right now. He has the physique, crazy physique right now. And if I keep on doing what I'm doing, I keep on focusing on it, and I can achieve that too. And I'm trying to catch up to Jarett here. That was our joke as a tag team. That's our joke as a tag team. I'm like, we're sex appeal, and he starts laughing, and I'm like, you're the sex, I'm the peel, because I don't have it. And I'm like, I've been losing the weight. I don't know. I think
now
we may just be like, it might be one now with it.
We're just the sex appeal, both of us, times two. Highly dangerous. I love that. Since you brought up your girl, if I may, it feels like when you do interviews, like it does really feel like you have had a lot of incredibly strong women in your life. I feel like it kind of comes through. Like I believe you have an older sister, and I could be wrong. Like it just okay. So, and it feels like you have a lot of strong female influences in your life, and it kind of I feel like coalesces with this. You said that your biggest accomplishment in wrestling was pushing through, which I thought was such an incredible answer. Like, because most people probably think of matches. I mean, you've literally tagged with Savio Vega and Homicide, and you said your biggest wrestling accomplishment was pushing through. And you had mentioned that, you kind of like got into your wrestling journey the year that your mom passed.
Yes.
Wow.
It was, she passed that November. Okay. I started actually last week, made my 9 years, May 27th.
Oh yeah, congratulations. I saw your like photo collage. It was so amazing.
Yeah. She basically gave me the blessing to do it. And it was something that she would only want to watch when her husband, The Rock, was on TV. So The Rock, if The Rock was on, I had to tell her. And if I didn't tell her, she walks by the TV and sees that he's on, I'm in trouble.
Oh, yeah, that's a no.
But when I told her, I'm like, hey, look, I kind of want to do this. I want to get into this. I don't want to be an old man in a rickety chair watching wrestling. Be like, I could have did that when I was younger. I want to be able to tell grandkids, tell nieces and nephews, hey, I used to do that. Right. You want to see and put on a match, and they're gonna be like, "Oh my God, that's you!" Like I want to be that grandpa, that uncle.
Yeah.
So, she told me, she was like, "Okay, fine. Well, what can I tell you? You're an adult. Just a few rules." I'm like, "Okay, shoot." And she told me, she was like, "Rule number 1, be careful, don't get hurt. Rule number 2, if you get hurt, do not call me. because I will go to the hospital, and whatever is broken, I'll break the other one, and you'll have two broken things. A typical Puerto Rican mom, basically.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
and 3, the day I get signed to the WWE, I gotta kidnap The Rock and him home to her.
You better hope he's in that day.
So, all right.
Listen, I gotta find him. But she passed that November, so she never got a chance to see me get in the ring, debut, do any of that. So at that point, I didn't have much in the business to basically continue. So I was gonna pack it up and be like, you know what? It was worth a shot. Why not? And again, watching wrestling, seeing my friends on TV, seeing my friends wrestle, it dawned on me that this is something I can continue to do because she gave me the blessing to do it. So why quit now? Push through, do it.
Wow.
And like a year or two prior to her passing, my stepfather passed away, and he was a very strong figure in my life, to the point where he was the one to sit me down at the age of like 1-2 years old to watch wrestling, to watch Saturday Morning Superstars, to watch Glow, to watch Lucha Libre. Like I was with him watching the Colones fight in Puerto Rico. Like I was watching those tapes when I was a little kid. And then my cousin Chris, shout out to my cousin Chris. He's another one that basically got me into watching, Ring of Honor, the independent scene. If I would have never started watching Ring of Honor with him and the independent scene, I would have never saw Homicide, Loki, Amazing Red. So all of that like dawned on me after my mom passed. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to keep on doing this. And I called up my best friend Peña, who's the first person to ever put me in a wrestling ring, Steve Peña.
Wow.
And I'm like, listen, bro, meet me at BWF. I think I'm going to do it. He was like, are you sure? I'm like, yes. Mind you, it was like 4 weeks after my mom passed. And he went to my mom's funeral, didn't know my family or nothing. And he paid his respects. And he met my older sister. He met my brother-in-law, and they begged him, please, if he continues with this, please take care of him. Please look out for him. And he was like, you got my word. And he's kept his word.
Yeah.
All these years.
Oh my God.
We met in the gym, me and him working out, and I didn't know he was a wrestler until he told me. And I trusted him enough to teach me, and he taught me a lot of the base I know. And then like when I started wrestling, when I basically debuted, a year after I debuted, my older sister got diagnosed with breast cancer. So she's a breast cancer survivor. She fought through that. She pushed through it. She persevered. And she went through a lot of pain through chemo and radiation and all of that. And she became my motivation and my driving force to continue doing it. Wow. So I'll take a bump and I'm in so much pain. I'm like, she's in more pain than I'm in. I could brush it off and keep moving. And she's like the worry wart because we're 10 years apart. It was like she kind of raised me too.
Right.
Yeah.
And so she looks at me not only as like a little brother, but also as like a son. So
like her baby. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So she's scared every single time I'm wrestling. She's like super scared, and she's like, you better be careful. Like she'll text me, you're wrestling, right? Yeah, be careful. I'm like, Nina, I'll send you video after. She was like, I don't know if I can watch you. Just like a few of my other family members, they can't even come watch. Some of them can't even come watch me wrestle.
Wow.
Because they're scared to see me get bumped and beat up and stuff. I'm like, it's okay. I walk out of it. I'm like, I'm fine. I'll limp the next day. I won't limp in front of you.
Yeah. That's so funny. It was like what Jarett said, where he was like, I'll be sitting next to my mom watching me, and she's worrying about me then. And I'm like, I'm right next to you fine right now. Like, obviously I'm okay. But it's just sometimes,
I played my matches in North Carolina for the family because we had went out there last year in May for a weekend for my nephew's son's birthday.
Wow.
His first birthday. And we're there, and I'm like, I want to see some of my matches. And they're like, yeah, let's put them on. So I put on the match of me and Steve Peña.
Okay.
And she was like, wait, isn't that the guy I met? I'm like, yeah, watch what he does to me.
Brutal.
Watch him stretch me out.
The chops, when he was chopping me, she was like, I'm like, you should have saw my chest the next day. Like, it was amazing.
It's amazing. Speaking of taking hits, I know, so you had this match with Jarett Diaz, who is your tag team partner. And we talk about this all the time. It's a quote either from Shawn Michaels or Triple H, right, Xavier?
Yeah.
Like about
he basically like talks about, he's like, nobody is gonna hit you harder in the ring than your best friend. Is that accurate?
100%.
Okay.
Between Jarett hitting me, I can take his hits. I'll say it, and I know he's gonna watch this, and he's gonna be like, "Wait until we wrestle again." Bring it.
I love this.
I
got a little bit more on him now. So
yeah, a little bit more meat.
The machine gun chops are gonna be a little different now.
Exactly. But wrestling him, it was really good because, of course, I think back to like watching, Owen and Brett wrestle. Right. Watching, the Steiners wrestle each other, watching the Hardys wrestle each other. Instead of only the brothers wrestling each other, because we're not any type of way brothers. We're brothers in arms, I'll say.
Yeah.
It's more like FTR when they wrestled each other in AEW for the Owen Classic.
Right.
They beat the crap out of each other. Mm-hmm. And that's how I felt when we wrestled each other. I'm like, we're going to just beat the shit out of each other, and we're going to basically drive home. And the number one rule was, hey, if you drop me on the dive, I'm leaving you in Connecticut. I'm like, I'm not dropping you because I got to get home.
Yeah, I need that ride. Oh, my God.
No, but sure enough, we get there. We're looking at the ring, and I'm like, bro, this ring is like not your typical apron distance. It's a little longer. And he's like, damn. I'm like, I know where to stand. Just jump. So as soon as he dips me off the apron, I'm on the floor. Plus they had somebody sitting right by there. And it was it was I forgot who it was. It was a kid that was sitting there. And I'm like, Jarett, please don't dive in this direction. Please don't dive in this direction. What direction is he diving in? That direction. I'm like,
oh God.
And sure enough, I catch him. I take the brunt of him coming down, and my elbow bops right off the floor. And I'm like, that's my bad elbow. But hey, I didn't drop him.
Right.
I'm going home tonight.
You're getting a ride home. Oh my God, that is so funny.
I think the hardest person to hit me in a wrestling match, that's my best friend, was Steve Peña. He lit me up. If you guys haven't watched the fight, watch it, because you're gonna feel my pain.
Mm-hmm. If you didn't watch it. We also saw Steve at Sábado Gigante. He wrestled that night also. Kelsey. Fun fact.
So you saw how he was hitting.
Yeah.
Now
he lays him in.
Mind you, he trained me, so we would train like that. So I was used to the training speed of it, not the match speed.
Oh, okay.
The day is like I remember this day like the back of my hand, because it was kind of like teacher versus student at the end of the day. They kept on saying in the commentary it's like two brothers fighting each other.
Right.
And then they did mention teacher versus student at one point. Because again, he's the one that put me in the ring for the first time. I took my first rolls with him. I took my first bumps with him. I hit the ropes for the first time with him. He taught me a lot, and we would watch tape like crazy. Like, he got to bring me back my DVDs, my Ring of Honor DVDs, because he took them to study. Because I study nothing but wrestling. So it's like we're there and we're talking about what we're gonna do. He was like, "You're ready for match speed?" I'm like, "Yeah." He was like, "I know you're ready for it. So just keep in mind how I hit." I'm like, "It's fine." That first chop, I'm like, I owe him money? Did I put gas in the car? I'm like, I know I paid for gas last time I was in that car. I'm like, I bought him water. Right. I was going down the list of like
the list. No, all the while.
What did I do?
Did I say something slick to his mom? Like what? Like
his hand was engraved on my shirts for like 3 days, 4 days.
I believe it.
No,
and
believe it. Oh my God! I
fought back, and every single hit he hit me with, I put the same thing right back into him, and he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna hit you harder now." I'm like, "Damn."
I didn't know you could. I'm sorry.
There's a video clip, and I took it and I put it on my I think it's on my Instagram. He chops me, but he goes to chop me and I flinch, and that was the number one rule between us, never flinch when we're gonna get chopped by each other.
No.
So I did one quick little. I went, and he was like, and it wasn't two for flinching. It was, I'm gonna lay it all in, and he laid it all in. But instead of catching my chest, he caught me right here, in my face. I felt it in the back of my neck.
Yeah. That's because the bones in your neck were trying to escape. That's why.
I said, and I hit the floor, and then they got the camera angle of me going down to the floor, and they put the camera right in my face, and I'm like,
these are the things like that's so crazy about wrestling is that like you are having very real human moments like in the ring, and someone's like,
yeah, like hello,
and then they threw me in. He threw me in, and he just kept on. God. And then I just was like, you know what? I'm just gonna fight right back. And I just started laying it back in on him. And then I grabbed the chuncla because he was like, yo, use it. I'm like, all right, cool. He was like, chop me in the chest with it. I'm like, all right. Right across the chest. And he hits me. Right across the chest, he hits me. Right across the chest. And he hits me harder. And I'm like, ow. And I stopped. I'm like, Jesus.
Oh my God.
But he kept on, and until the very end, he dropped me on my neck with a Saito, choked me out. Grabbed the asthma pump, pumped me back up again, and choked me out again. It was it was a great match. And when I went to the back, he gave me the biggest hug in the world, and he was like, "Yo, I love you, bro." He was like, "You took a beating. You just kept on getting back up, and kept on fighting." I'm like, "Listen, I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna keep going."
That is so crazy. Wait,
but your best friend hits you the hardest in the world.
Yeah, and this is why I've said it a million times. I love watching wrestling. I could never be a wrestler girl. I would be like, why would you do that?
Try it one day.
No way. There's no way.
Both of you.
He could do it. Xavier, I have no doubts, could do it.
Generous, but thanks.
Oh God, I would. Oh my God, what you guys do is so insane. It's like still never lost on me.
I'm very close to the like Monster Factory, and they're constantly posting just like open house things, and I'm always just like, I should go to just one, just to do it and just see what's up.
You should go try. Hit up Gabby Ortiz. Tell her I sent you over.
Heard.
And tell her that you want to like take a bump or two. You want to just your podcast, so you'd love to interview her,
right?
And so she could record, and you both could go and try taking a bump.
Hey.
Oh God!
Listen,
what you guys do is so.
Or we could do this. Or we could do this. The next show that me and Jarett are on in the Mecca, you guys come a little earlier. And we'll show y'all how to take a bump.
Okay.
And you guys could take a bump, and you guys could put it on.
Listen, put it on I'm game. I'm game. I'm down to try.
I would do it just for the lore, to add to the lore for sure.
That's what I'm saying.
So, all right, the gauntlet has been. Okay, I literally
Kelsey wanted to ask you about
I literally wrote this in my notes. I was like, I am 99% sure this man has a steel chair tattoo, and I think that is awesome. I love that.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
That's incredible. All right, the gauntlet has been thrown. You guys will find out whether or not we pick it up.
we make this happen.
Y'all will see.
Just do a poll.
Yeah, drop in the comments if you want to see me and Xavier take a bump, and not the one you think. But since you brought up,
not the Hector Lavoe one.
No. But since you brought up the chancla, I watched the chancla match. How iconic! I need to know.
So true.
One. I need one day for you to have like a chancla chain, like a gold plated diamond studded chancla, like as a chain to come walk in the ring with, and then two, and you could add a chopped cheese as a charm one day, and then. Also, I need to know, did you take one of the chanclas like as a souvenir, or are you walking around with somebody's size 6 like?
All right, so fun fact: all the chanclas that got thrown at me that day, or thrown into the ring as a tribute to me.
Mm-hmm.
Those were all of the chanclas I was selling at my merch table that day. I sold out.
Oh,
you're kidding!
Sold out.
He's a businessman. He said, "Free merch."
But everybody got their chanclas back. They came up to me. I signed them, so they had signed chanclas by the end of the night.
Amazing.
But yeah, it was funny because I was like trying to figure out something to be different.
Yeah.
I didn't want to just be your typical South Bronx, Puerto Rican boy wrestling, because there's a few of us out there. And I'm like, I gotta be different. I gotta figure something out. And a few people have used the chancla before in wrestling. Santana and Ortiz were two of them that did. The Hit Squad did it before in the past. Mercedes Martinez did it before. And Diamante was doing it for some time in the Indies.
Right.
So I'm like, damn, but they did it. But they're Latinos. So it makes sense. I can do it. Since around that time, Diamante was going to be getting signed soon. She was going to be leaving the Indies soon. I asked for the blessing. I'm like, hey, is it cool if I, use the chocolate? Because I'm good friends with her. She was like, Primo, go right ahead and use it. I'm like, all right, cool. So I talked with the guys too, and they were like, bro, go ahead. We're not going to be using it where we're going like that. So go ahead. And of course, I asked all the OGs, and they were like, bro, do it, but make it your own. Don't just follow along with us. So sure enough, I made it my own. It became its own entity. It basically has it was blessed by every single abuela on the block, including the barrio, and it has the souls of 1,000 abuelas and abuelos.
Wow. I was
when I hit people with it, it's like getting hit by 1,000 abuelitas and abuelos.
That's real. If you're not if you're not correct after that, you never will be. It's just facts.
Facts.
The soul realignment of the chancla is
like this video. You see me talk to it like, no, you need to chill. Stay in the corner. No,
like
fine. I'll do the job and I'll put it down. Yes,
that's great.
Love that. The personification of the chancla. It's
great. My mom was more of she was like a whip. Like I would be like going around the corner and she'd be like, she'd throw the chancla. I'd be like, oh my god.
I'm actually trying to join. There's a big thing coming to New York. It's like a festival, a Latino festival, and they're having a chancla contest. And I'm trying to find out how to be a part of it. How do I sign up? How much do I got to pay to be a part of this?
You need somebody to film that.
And I need to be in this. Look, I'm even wearing my shirt right now with the chancla on it. So,
my god, yes. I
got to. I gotta get in this because it makes the best sense of me being in there.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I won't win. I know I will not beat these abuelas.
No.
It's in their DNA. So it's like it's in mine too, but
it's just
there's something about. Yeah, I love that, and I need to see that, and I will be on the sidelines taking bets. I'm like, who you got? I love that, and also,
I'll be betting against myself. I'll be like, I got Don Julita from down the block,
because that's just smart. That's just you got that business mentality.
It's the safe bet.
Yes. Since you also brought up Jarett before, I am flabbergasted and shocked that you guys are not like childhood friends, like with the chemistry that you guys have. Like the pizza promo, first of all, took me out. That was so funny.
Right. He owes me pizza too. He still owes me.
Yeah. And you know what? It will come due, Jarett. You heard it here first. But it's like shocking to me. You guys have such incredible chemistry, and it was your idea. Like you guys were training, and then you were like, "Oh, we should tag sometime," right?
Yeah, it was my idea because I know Jarett through a mutual friend.
Okay.
And they were like, oh yeah, my friend's son wrestles. I'm like, oh really? And it's just happened to be Jarett. So I'm like, oh cool. So we linked up on Instagram. We started chatting. And when he moved back to New York, he was like, yo, I'm gonna go and train. And he already knew my boy Peña. So he was like, yeah, I'm like, oh, I'm going with Peña to go train too. He was like, oh cool. So we could get a chance to meet each other for the first time in person and, just chill and train. So we did, we clicked automatically. We clicked online, chatting back and forth, sending each other wrestling videos. And then we clicked even more when we got in the ring training and wrestling with each other. And it dawned on me. I'm like, you know what? I like me. I have a special place in my heart for tag team wrestling. I've always loved it. I do love my singles wrestling. I do enjoy it. But there's something about tag team wrestling that I just enjoy the most, right? So I'm like, I had just kind of broke up from a tag team with Johnny Santos, who you guys saw me and Jarett take out. We were You're Awesome. We were a tag team. Johnny Santos, Mad Awesome from the BWF days. And, we broke up. But we were still cool, right? A little bit after that. And I decided to be like, yo, let's make a trio. It's called the Uptown Boys. It was gonna be Bad Boys, but I'm like, I'll get away from that. But Bad Boys was gonna be an acronym, Bronx All Day Boys, basically. But flip it, Uptown Boys, because we're all from Uptown. So even Johnny's from the Heights, so he's Uptown Manhattan. So we're the Uptown Boys. And we first burst on the scene was for Poly M Coat Party 3 Brooklyn, from MV Young at the T2T Training Academy. And that card was amazing. Besides our match, Effie was on the card. And Effie, I love that man to death. He is that man. I did his seminar recently too, but I've known him before that, and we've had great conversations together, him and Ali. But he was on that card that day, and he was even watching our match, and he enjoyed it. He was like, "You 3 guys, not only are you guys handsome, but you guys can move, and you guys have this chemistry."
Love that.
At the same time, Johnny was forming First Class. So he already had his faction kind of established with them. So I'm like, well, let's just keep it the Bronx Boys, Uptown Boys right here. And it stayed me and Jarett. And then one of our first tag team matches that we had together was in Connecticut. And it was supposed to be a part of a tag team tournament to win titles. And it just so happens the company just fell flat right after that first show. But we won that match. We dominated. And mind you, we had no tag team moves together. We had really nothing. And we're driving up there and we're just piecing together moves on our drive up that we do already.
Right.
I'm like, how about I hit this and then you come in with your double stomp? He was like, that makes sense. I'm like, we're gonna do it. I'm like, you'll get your dive. I'm like, you get your dive. When we set up for you to hit the finish, I'll do my cannonball to the outside. He was like, all right, cool. And sure enough, we meshed it all together and we got in the ring. And everybody who was there that saw us wrestle for the first time, they were like, our friends were like, there's something there with you guys. Like, you guys have this chemistry that you and Johnny never had. I'm like, really? Like, you guys just like compliment each other so well. I'm like, okay, I like the sound of that. And sure enough, after that, Jarett does his singles stuff, which he wrestled greats like Rich Swann, Tony Deppen, Dan Moff. He's wrestled so many great talents, and even freaking Speedball. Like,
crazy.
Jarett's trajectory is completely on a different level. And, I love teaming with him. I love the tag team stuff. And again, he was so new to tag team. I'm like, yo, let's just do this. And you guys saw it, even though you kind of saw 30 seconds of it the last show. But if you've seen our other matches, we gel very well. And it's like he wasn't new to this tag team thing. I definitely wasn't. Like, he'll look at me like, I'm gonna do some tape study. I'm like, do some tape study. Him and his franchise self, he goes and he watches tapes, whatever type of match we're gonna do. He watches tag team matches of that nature, and he's like, okay, I got ideas, I got structure. I'm like, cool, I got the moves, and we'll just mix everything in together. And both of our brains, once it goes into wrestling mode, that's it.
But how cool, like, that. Even if like he is like wanting to do like a singles thing, like, for the long run, like, how cool to be such a big part of making him a more like complete wrestler, because that is, he's wherever he ends up going, it's not like he's not going to end up in tag team matches. Like, it's going to happen,
Exactly. And that's the good thing. Like, he was teaming with the Rapture. It was the trios, right? Even though they're both, when he was a part of them, he was still singles wrestler,
right?
Jay and Rich also do, shout out to Jay and Rich. Eventually down the line, hopefully you'll get the Uptown Boys versus, the Rapture. Possibly you may get the combination of us 4 against other teams.
Ooh.
The Uptown Rapture will be one against other teams. And honestly, seeing how Jay and Rich wrestle and how me and Jarett wrestle, factions got to look out if we ever do decide to team up like that and click up, because again, those are Jarett's boys and they're cool with me too, but those are Jarett's boys. And Jay and Rich, they're a great tag team. So he had a tag team in his back pocket, but now he's a part of a tag team. So it's a different story.
Right.
And all the like promoters, like after we come out of our matches, the promoters come to us and be like, "Hey, how long you guys been teaming for?" And we'll tell them, like, we're not a fairly new tag team. We've been doing this now for like a few years. But Jared's like, you know me, I'm not 100% a tag team wrestler. I do singles, and he was like, and Matt does too. I'm like, yeah, I do my singles matches, but my heart, I love tag team wrestling. There's something about it that I love about it.
I mean, more components, there's more people, there's more just
but like this
can happen.
Even his mom goes like this when I get hit now. That's the funny thing. And his father, when his father writes me like every other day on Instagram saying, "Hey, what's up, man?" I'm like, "What's up, pops?" I call him pops too. And
love that.
We're in the car. He'll FaceTime his father. He's like, "Maddie." I'm like, "What's up, pops?" And he talks to me like I'm his adoptive son. So it's like,
love that.
Yeah.
The community,
brother in arms, right?
Yeah, I'm telling you. The Ricans really are. It takes a village, and we will ride on that. We will die on that forever. It's just true.
100%, yes.
I did want to call it because we did talk about the the Chancla match. Like those two matches with Jay Bougie, like generally they were for me. I felt like were the ones I really got to see. Kind of, I know they were the longer ones, so I really got to see kind of like who you were as like a wrestler. Like was there something about like the chemistry with Jay Bougie? Was it the animosity that built up over time that like really brought that out of it in each other? Or like, I don't know, it's just something about you two in the ring together like clicked really well. And you had the audiences in both of those matches like right where you wanted them. So it's I'm very curious as to like how you feel about those matches, and I guess him generally, because he's gonna come up again because you guys cross paths. So
well, I think honestly, it's bound for me and Bougie to always cross each other's paths. We're both Bronx boys. We're both about the business. We're both hustlers in this business. We both have families that we do this for. So we have a similarity in those areas. Now, before the feud, I respected the hell out of him. I loved his drive. I loved what he can do in the ring. I love what he brings to the ring, what he brings to promos. I love it. He stepped on my toes, and you don't step on another man's toes. You don't eat off of another man's plate, basically. And he did that. And he stole my win on my redemption match. And, he tried to make a joke about it. He tried to be ha-ha-ha about it. No, you know what? Then we'll face one-on-one. And that first match between us, the one-on-one match, that was a huge accomplishment, I feel, for me, because I faced off with at the time, Invictus Social Media Championship, which was a pretty prestigious championship in Invictus. And he put it on the line against me, thinking that he's gonna dog walk me, and there was no dog walking that day.
No.
Like I fought back. I had people in the crowd. My biological mom was in the crowd. She was there with my brother, and he dragged me over to her, and then she was gonna fight him. She was in the crowd trying to fight him, and he threw me back in the ring, and we just went at it. We had our brawl. His friend cheated for him, put his foot on the ropes after they counted the 3 for me. I had the title, lost the title right away.
Crazy.
And then he stole the win again. He stole the win. He interrupted the pegao. He interrupted the pegao con con match.
Right.
There could have been a definitive winner between what do we call the rice on the bottom of the pot when it's already burnt onto it, and that is pegao. But Dominicans will always say it's con con. It's pegao.
Yep.
And we were going to get a definitive winner, but he came in, hit me with a chair, and the only reason why I went to a no contest was because he is neither Dominican nor Puerto Rican. So with him doing what he did, threw the match out. So everybody's confused about that. They're like, wait a second, you guys, it was an all-out brawl. There shouldn't be no disqualification. There really wasn't, but it went to a no contest because a non-Latino came into the ring and interfered. That's why it went to a no contest. It wasn't that Pegao was winning because we got hit with the chair. No. It was just a no contest. Just to keep it there. And he wanted to yap off, and he seemed to forget that Johnny Santos was the person I was going up against in that match. And we have a history of a tag team. We have a history of not liking each other, too, at the same time. But we put that aside. First class let him work with me. Jarett was like, I don't trust him, but you know what? Do what you got to do. And we did what we had to do in the match against Bougie and PB Smooth. And PB's he's tall.
Big boy.
He's tall. My girl's coworker was like, "Damn, he's big." I'm like, "Yeah, he's big." And he picked me up. He picked me up and flung my ass. And he's a big dude.
Yeah.
But you know, we lost, yes, because again, the chemistry wasn't really there with You're Awesome anymore. It's with Uptown Boys. Right. I think if Jarett was in my corner, we would have taken out the Killionaires. But again, you know, I had my redemption, and I got a chance to take out Bougie. I did my famous, and I will always forever do it now, even more as a tribute to Sabu. I threw a chair in his face after he hit me with it. I didn't use the chuncla, but the fans used the chuncla, and everybody saw a different side of me. And everybody saw a different side of me in that match. I was a little more aggressive. I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna let you. I'm gonna bring out the young Matt from the South Bronx, Patterson Projects, born and raised. I'm bringing him out tonight, and I brought him out, and I had to do what I had to do. Yeah. And of course, the fans loved it. They threw their chunclas at me, and they didn't hurt. They didn't hurt when they me. Thank God I didn't get knocked out. But I sold it to them, so it's fine. But you know, it was a great match. But the day after that was a very special match, and that was the day I teamed with Savio Vega.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. We are.
Thank God you brought this up.
So in the show, we started in like 1996. So we are in like the thick of like Savio being around, being present. We are
the Boricuas, like
great time. Great time.
I love that man. I love him.
When they were out there like stealing the Disciples of Apocalypse like motorcycles and like running out, great time. But we are always like just hyping up Savio because like it feels like sometimes like in WWF that it's just like they just kind of stick him places but he's always game. It does not matter the situation, he's always game, and I respect that so much about him. So please, like, what was that like? I'm sure like growing up as a fan and then getting to stand next to him as a professional, like what is that? What was that experience like? And because he was, he's older at this point. So was he limited? Was he limited at all? Because he didn't seem like it. So because
not at all.
If he was hurting, I couldn't tell. So
not at all. That man could go. Like it's crazy because last year was a special year for me with wrestling. Because in March 30th, I teamed with one of my other heroes, which is Homicide.
Right.
I teamed with him. And that was given to me by Loudy's Wrestling. They gave it to me and Jarett to team with him. And Grim Reaper knows how much of a fan I am of Homicide. He also knows how I'm connected to Homicide because one of Homicide's old students, EC Negro, which is shout out to EC Negro too for this one. EC Negro put me in the car with Homicide, and we were driving to a show, and we were having a great conversation. I was picking his brain. Before that, we were in the same locker room together for a show that they put me on for the first time. And that was the show where the late, great Vince Steele took my head off with a clothesline. 3 times.
Damn.
And when I got to the back, Homicide was laughing. He was like, "Yo, we took your head off." And we were joking around about it. And I'm the wrestling fan in me is like, "Oh my God, Homicide is talking about my match. This is crazy." And then at the end of the night, we took a picture, and I told him, like, 2 years ago, I met him at TNA, and we took a picture ringside. And I put those pictures together side by side when I took the picture with him that night. And then, you know, I've taken rides with him, picked his brain. He's told us stories. I was at his tribute show. And then fast forward to us teaming together, and he was like, he hits me up in the DM, "Yo, you ready to have some fun?" I'm like, Homicide to my DM telling me we're going to have fun in the match. It's gonna be fun.
That's
so
awesome.
I have that match, and then we are wrestling Pete Rosado, which is, again, shout outs to Pete Rosado for this one. He was like, "I'm going to have you team with Savio." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, you're going to team with Savio Vega." I'm like, "Why? What? Me? Why me? Why?" He was like, "Matt, you are the most Puerto Rican wrestler I know that's on my roster. You're going to team with him." I'm like, Fair enough. All right, cool. We'll do this. So I go and I meet Savio at another show here in the city, and I'm talking with him. I'm like, yeah, I'm the one that's teaming with you in November. He's like, oh, you're gonna team with me? All right, cool. You wrestling tonight so I can see your stuff? I'm like, no, I literally just came here to meet you and just to hang out with the guys. He was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna look at your stuff, and we're gonna work. I'm like, you gonna look at my stuff?
I know that's
Savio
crazy.
gonna look at my stuff? Sure enough. The day before, of course, he wrestled Darius Carter in the Bronx the night before. So we're in the locker room, me, him, Dan Moff, and I forgot who else was back there. Steve Mack. Well, the old hit squad. We were all there back. We were in the locker room talking, bullshitting, making jokes, joking with people. And I'm like, yo, I'm literally in the locker room with two wrestlers who I like consider like my wrestling uncles, which is Dan Moff and Steve Mack. And Theo Savio. This is crazy. Right. So the next day, he gets there a little later. Mind you, me and the guys, we're already talking about stuff. He goes, okay, what are we doing tonight? Let's talk. Let's go. And we were like, oh, we figured, he was like, no. I want to work. We working tonight. We having fun tonight.
Love this.
The little kid in me was like, oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
Eden and Rosito were the same way because Eden said it. And it's funny. If you guys ever talk to Eden, ask him about the pictures that his grandmother had on her wall. And one of those pictures she had was a picture of Savio Vega.
Period.
Oh, amazing.
So he got a chance to wrestle Savio Vega. I had the chance to team with Savio Vega that night. And he is exactly what his nickname is, Theo Savio. He is your Theo through and through. And I can flex a bit. I have Savio Vega's number in my phone. So
period.
When me and Jarett go out to Puerto Rico for the tag team titles of Shadow Wrestling Alliance, we're gonna go and fight the champions out there.
Damn.
I'm calling up Savio and be like, "Hey, Theo Savio, what's up? I'm in Puerto Rico. What are we gonna do?"
That's gonna be amazing.
Linking up with Savio Vega in Puerto Rico is crazy.
Right. I don't think it gets more like. Whoa. That's awesome. That's
there may be one little thing to get a little bit higher than that's me having like lunch or something with Dwayne, but that's a different story. that's like coming right up the pipeline then, because you're this close. Like, my God. And like, honestly, like, check the track. We have always said it's Savi with the hands. He is always willing to jump in. He's got those kicks that he was doing in your match. We've always said that his spinning heel kick is deadly.
It is like a thing of beauty. It's like him and like Owen Hart. I'm like all day long.
I asked him if I could do it, and he was like, "Listen, if you could get it done right, do it." I'm like, possibility, because even Homicide gave me like okays to do certain things that he did.
Gotcha.
So he was like, "You could do the uppercut," because he was like, "You're doing the uppercut like the way I did in my early days." He was like, "Keep the uppercut." I'm like, cool. So I kept the uppercut.
Wow.
Love that.
And for the Sábado Gigante show, if you didn't notice, I pulled the fork out.
I did notice.
And I was getting ready to stab somebody up, and that's what Homicide does. Homicide pulls out a fork and jig you with the fork. That's awesome. I did that as a tribute to Homicide because he just retired from the game. So I'm like, he just retired a few days ago. I'm going to pull out the fork. And I had the fork hidden in my knee pad, but it was starting to stab me. So I'm like, I don't want to get stabbed anymore. I put it inside my singlet underneath my shirt, and I pulled it out from there.
That's amazing.
The attention to detail is really, I love that. Sending me.
Amen.
Love that.
We are, wrestling is an art.
Yeah.
Remember that. Wrestling is an art. So if you can take and you can add little details, little Easter eggs to what you do, to basically stand out and people catch it, my job is done.
Wow.
And
love that.
Speaking of like people that have like influenced you, you suggested for us to watch one of my favorite matches I think ever, and just one that's so highly like respected and regarded,
insane,
like, from wrestlers and fans. It is Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio, the Cruiserweight Championship versus The Mask at Halloween Havoc in 1997. Yeah, this was Kelsey's first time watching it, which my favorite thing about doing this show is watching Kelsey watch things for the first time, because it's just like stuff I have been like, I've been watching since I was like a little kid, so it's stuff I've like seen like a million times. So like, even though I'll still love it, there's something about watching something for the first time, and seeing Kelsey watch this was great. So tell us why this one specifically. I'm sure we know, but for you, why this one, and kind of exactly, and why and what you kind of pull from Eddie Guerrero as far as like what you do today.
All right, so top notch, number one, best wrestler of all time, favorite wrestler is Eddie Guerrero, hands down. If the day of that WrestleMania viewing party that I was at, hanging out at, would have had an Eddie Guerrero tattoo, I would have had an Eddie Guerrero tattoo right here. But I got a chair instead. Even if it was like the Latino Heat Flame, I would have gotten that right here.
Oh yeah,
I would have. I'm surprised I don't got an Eddie Guerrero tattoo yet. But
listen,
basically,
there's still time.
That match to me was, because again, I was a WWF, WCW kid. I would watch Nitro from 8 p.m. to when Raw would start, and I'll start watching Raw from 9 o'clock on, but I'll be flipping between channels every commercial break just to see what was going on. Because back then we didn't have dirt sheets. We didn't have the internet so live like it is right now, or any cheat stuff. We had to literally wait till we read the newspaper the next morning in the very small column of the sports section that said the results from wrestling. That's all we had in the back of the Daily News.
Right.
Crazy.
So, like, I fell in love with the Cruiserweight division. Loved it. I was always an Outsiders fan. I loved Scott Hall, Kevin Nash. They were my boys. But when it came to the Cruiserweight division, they stuck out like they were the best. They were charismatic. They reminded me when I was a little kid watching Lucha Libre, because most of them came from AAA and CMLL.
Yeah.
So watching Eddie Guerrero and knowing about Eddie Guerrero prior to WCW a bit, a very small bit I knew about him because of the Los Guerreros, his family. Seeing him and be such a badass was like, yo, this guy, I was like, I like this guy. But then I liked Rey Mysterio, and I liked Juventud Guerrero, and I liked Psychosis and Dean Malenko and Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho was on my it's Eddie Guerrero, Chris Jericho. Those are my top two favorite wrestlers. And then comes Shawn Michaels. But they were
really the backbone of WCW, like
pretty much.
Right.
So when you see Eddie feuding with Rey, you're like, you're just like the little brother. You're the little guy I'm just gonna step on like a little cockroach. That was his thing. And then to know the history behind it, the story of that match, and why it turned out the way it turned out, was because they didn't want Rey Mysterio to keep the mask on.
Right.
Crazy.
So Eric Bischoff was like
Eddie fought. Yeah, Eddie fought because Eddie watched Rey grow up. Eddie was close to Rey's uncle, who dubbed him Rey Mysterio Jr. Because it wasn't his father, it was his uncle that dubbed him Rey Mysterio.
Right. Wow.
So it was Bischoff saying, no, he's losing the mask, you're keeping the title, you keep it, and Eddie fought with him tooth and nail. So right before they're about to go through that curtain to wrestling, he says, you're winning, and walks out.
Yeah. Crazy.
So that match, from beginning to end, because I'm a type of I've learned from, like I said, my training lineage is crazy. Like certain wrestlers say, yeah, Amazing Red trained me, or this person trained me, and they have like just one listed wrestler that trained them. I have a list of wrestlers that helped train me, help mold me into who I am today in the ring. So, it's just like the Eddie seen him grow. So Eddie was like, you know what? No, I'm gonna kick your ass, but what are we gonna do? We're gonna tell a whole story. And they told that story. And I'm a storytelling type of wrestler. I love to tell stories in the ring, because that's what it is. Right. It's a Shakespearean. To me, it's a Shakespearean play. I was a drama student. I was in drama class.
Oh,
same. Believe it or not,
makes complete sense. Yeah.
I always picture, they call it the squared circle, because back when Shakespeare was big, they did it in a circular stage,
right,
where the fans were all around, so there was no way to hide anything, just like in wrestling. Right. We're in a square ring. We're in a square circle.
Right.
Shakespeare. So we're basically Shakespeare with tights and body slams and blood.
And body oil.
Pretty much. So, they told such a story in that match from beginning to end, to the very, very end of that match, even to the point where he started ripping Ray's mask, thinking, you know what? Even if you beat me, I unveiled your face. I'm just gonna rip it. Like, it was just the intensity. Like, oh my god, is he gonna show his face? Oh my god, he's gonna show his face. That's how I went through that whole match.
Yeah.
Oh my
But
god.
every single time I go back and I watch that match, I catch a little different detail. Every single time. And I've watched that match probably over 100 times. And I'm still catching little things here and there.
My thing about Eddie Guerrero specifically is because he was such a like huge personality, I feel like people like forget how technically sound this man was. This like the things that Ray was pulling off, Ray would never have been able to do if Eddie was not where he needed to be, because Ray was like out here innovating moves on the fly, but Eddie needs to be where he needs to be to take it.
He did the DDT when he walked up. That was the first time he ever did that moonsault DDT, and Eddie caught him perfectly and ate it. I'm like,
and it's just one of the, people like, and you know, because wrestling is moments, so you always remember, you know, like the lying, the cheating, the stealing, the big personality things, but like the consistent work that this man was like, it's not talked about enough as far as like
you just saying that is just like you're scratching the surface of it. You gotta take it back. You gotta take it to like the first New Japan Super Juniors. You gotta take it back to that when Eddie Guerrero wasn't even Eddie Guerrero. He was Black Tiger Mask.
Yeah.
He wore a mask, and he would still, his character would resonate out of the mask, which as a mask wrestler, you have to do that. You have to just cover your face so there's no facial expressions. Your body has to tell a story.
Yeah.
You can tell, like, you're like, that's not Tiger Mask. That's Eddie Guerrero. If you knew who he was when he was in a tag team before that. And that tag team is an amazing tag team. And then you fast forward to WCW when he was by himself. Then you fast forward a little bit more. Him and Ray team up as the Filthy Animals. And me and Jarett actually took one of their moves. And we do one of their tag team moves.
Wow.
And again, like I said, every year I have to put something of Eddie Guerrero in my repertoire somehow, some way. Either if it's the way I have to say a promo, or a move that I do in the ring, or a tag team move. Like this year, I put a tag team move in there. That's Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio. I have to put something to honor. Like,
love that.
He was for the Mexican culture, but to me, he was for the Latinos, all Latinos.
Yeah,
the way he put on for the Latino community. Versus, because now is where we get more of the representation when it comes to Puerto Ricans in wrestling. Because you got your Damian Priestes. Even though he was just released, you know, they finally said where Calito was from. They said he was from San Juan, Puerto Rico recently.
Right.
They always would say from the Caribbean in the past.
Right.
They never said where he was from.
Right.
And so once we know he's from there and he has brothers and they were in WWE, wait a second, they're from there too.
Yeah.
You got your Santanas, you got your Ortizes, you got your Kingstons, you got your Homicides, you got Loki, you got Red, you got all of these guys, and they represent for the culture. But now, not back then. The only person that was really doing it back then for the Puerto Rican culture and the community was Savio.
Yes.
Because he was the only one, realistically, until they were like, "Oh, let's start a faction." Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Los Boricuas, and that was short lived. That was like literally very short lived. Which
was like a year. Yeah, it was like a year maybe and some change. But I always felt like, especially during that time period, like I feel like WWE like didn't know how to showcase wrestlers from other and that's very apparent in like when they bring in like lucha libre wrestlers, like they're always in like a random 6-man tag and they don't know any of the moves, and like so like I just feel like especially in that time period there was that learning curve was like severe.
There was a lot of like not only discrimination when it came to like that, but when it came to women's wrestling too, because the young women from Japan came over at one point in time, and they were outshining the American women here,
right?
And they won the titles, took it back to Japan, and what ends up happening when they go to Japan? with the titles, they come right back and they lose to a scrub team.
Right.
And they were like, okay, you're never gonna work here again. Go back because you outshined our girls. Bull Nakama only stayed in the WWE for a year and then she went back to Japan.
Right.
It's crazy.
What is it? What's her name? Wow, brain fart. There's another Japanese wrestler that she came over. She was killing it. Asha Khan, there we go.
Oh yeah,
she was killing it. Sent her right back.
Right.
Like it's like,
and then
there was a learning curve when it came to cultures, and then now is when it's like, oh yeah, we can use them now because they know what they're doing. They've always known what they were doing. They were always a step ahead.
I know
a lot of times they were a step ahead, and okay, now we get your Nakamuras, we get your Taka Michinokus, but they were also using Taka weird too. And then when Taka went back to Japan, he was a boss. So it's like cultural differences. Like they don't know how to use the culture unless they're from here. Blonde hair, blue eyes. I'm sorry to say it like that.
And especially in the time period we're like watching, where it's just like that's just what
it's so apparent.
Because we are literally like at the tail end of like the gold. You're shaking off all the dredges of the golden era into the.
So have you watched the Caesars? You watched the Caesars Palace WrestleMania?
The WrestleMania 9. We also watched the documentary about it also. So
the Hogan
the Hogan of it all.
Don't piss me off. I swear to God.
Listen, that's why I love the Iron Sheik.
Forever.
When I watched, because we did an episode just on Yokozuna, and when I got to the Hulk Hogan part, I'm not kidding, I had to pause and take like a lap. I was so pissed. I was like, "Are you?" I was like, I was texting him in all caps, like, "Are you serious?"
Sorry, brother, I'm not putting you over, brother. That was Hogan.
It doesn't work for me.
And it
doesn't work for me, brother. Nope. Like, no. Like that's why I was a Macho Man fan. I was a Roddy Piper fan. I liked Ricky Steamboat. I
the workers,
those guys.
The workers.
Hogan, I was a bit of a Hulkamaniac at one point, and then I realized I started seeing him like, why can't this guy lose right? Like,
never.
Macho Man just lost. Why can't you lose?
Right.
Jake the Snake. Like Jake the Snake won, and you can't even lose. Like, what's going on? Like,
damn.
Yeah, that's what I'm like.
That's the bag.
That's the bad part. He needs to lose.
Yeah, we air him out
that's
on
how
a
people
regular
learn.
basis. So save space. We be airing him out on a regular basis.
Oh, and another favorite match of mine is Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon, WrestleMania 10
ladder match.
Yeah. Oh, I haven't seen that one.
We'll have to go back and do that. We did watch Owen versus Brett from that WrestleMania. But
that was the best. That was one of my other favorite matches.
Yeah,
I love them. I miss Brett every day.
If you look at what my favorite matches are, you kind of get an idea of like the style of wrestling I like to watch.
Yeah, but it's very much aligns with what I like to watch too, because that Halloween Havoc was crazy, and I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. And like I will never forget, and it was way.
You gotta watch their other feuds. Then you're gonna be getting to their other feuds soon.
Absolutely, we will. But I remember, like, way before this show was even like a twinkle in our eye. Like, it was like back in the days where I was like going over on Wednesday nights and we were watching like AEW Dynamite, eating pizza, and just like hanging out. There was a match where I don't remember what it was, but a lucha mask was like taken off. I thought I was gonna throw up. I was like, they can't do that. Like, even then, I was like, this is horrible. I can't watch. It's awful. Yeah. Disgusting. Like, and
the funny thing is to see these guys in the locker room and like, who's that? And then I don't know where you're like, that was you.
Oh my god!
That was my first time with
didn't even think of that.
with Phoenix and Penta. My first time being in the locker room with them. They wanted to take a group picture. They wanted to take a big group picture from the show. We were all like talking in the back, and he goes, "Oh shit, where's my mask?" And Phoenix goes and puts on his mask. I'm like, this whole time, he was like, "What happened, amigo?" I'm like, "Yo, like." He was like, "Oh yeah, it's me."
Oh my god!
Well, now I know.
Literally, that was in my first year of wrestling. That September, I helped set up a ring at La Boom, and they were having it was Ray Phoenix versus Penta.
Damn.
And
wow!
I saw them without their mask. I'm like, "That's what you guys look like. You guys are ugly fellas." And half the time, luchadors are not even ugly. luchadors are not even ugly half the time.
No, they just like to say
that's
that.
not the
They just like to say
reason.
that shit on commentary.
They're like, oh my god, they must look like a foot. Like it's no, like they like look at Andrade. Andrade wore a mask for so
Right.
long.
Right.
Who else wore a mask? And you're like, oh crap, he wore a mask. Rey Mysterio. Now he's wearing a mask again, but
right.
there's a point in time he didn't wear a mask, and he looked like a child, but
Yeah, so did
he wasn't
Hoovy,
ugly.
not gonna lie. when they
That's another one.
When they unmasked Hoovy, I was like, "Who's this kid?" I was like, "This is a kid."
Whose baby is this?
But
He still
forget
looks
they were
young to this
so
day.
young, like when they started, like they were not
Yeah.
that old. Like, but when like it's crazy because like how experienced they were at that point. But like they really were like
Ray looks like he's in his 20s now.
I
crazy.
swear. I swear. But we have a theory, and we talk about this all the time. It's like if you are unproblematic, you age like fine wine. You keep your
Right.
full head of hair, and you like carry on through life
You just
with
keep
no
on
wrinkles.
trucking. You
I'm
cause
trying to think of
problems. You age like
who else
milk.
I've seen without a mask, and I was like, dude. Oh, Mysterious Q. He wore a mask for a while. Now he doesn't wear a mask anymore.
Right.
He's off the mask. I'm like, bro, why you wear a mask? He's like, no, I don't want people to really know who I look like outside. I'm like, half of us know what you look like outside because
Yeah.
you walk in without the mask,
Oh
so
my
we know who
God.
you are.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, but when I wrestle, I'm Mysterious Q. I'm a mysterious dude. I'm like, okay. And then the some of the women that were in line, they're like, he's fine as motherfucker.
Oh my God.
Like,
You're like,
I'm like,
put that
listen.
mask back on. Actually, like
Even Fuego isn't even a ugly dude.
No,
And Fuego
no.
just lost his mask.
Mhm.
Fuego literally just lost his mask. He's not an ugly guy. He's a cool dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, like you wear a mask for what?
Yeah.
That's like, I'm gonna tell Jarett to start wearing a mask.
Just for the like future unveiling of it.
Just for
Like
that.
it was me all along. Like,
And then you can really take the mantle of the sex and the sex appeal.
that
really
boom, baby.
snatch it.
listen, he's on a
Snatch your
trajectory like Cody Rhodes. Eventually, he's gonna have to wear a paper bag.
Listen, it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Oh my God.
All right, so we are coming up. We're a little bit over an hour, but so what do you have coming up? Where can the people find you? Because I know this weekend we're recording on June 2nd, so this weekend is Santana's second annual Puerto Rican weekend. So
I was a part of the inaugural show, which was nobody can ever take that away from me. I was in the first Puerto Rican weekend 6-way scramble match with my partner Jarett Diaz, who
isn't the parade this weekend also?
Yes,
yeah, that's what kicks off the best weekend of the summer.
Basically, this year I will not be part of Puerto Rican weekend, but I will be in the building hanging out. Enjoying the vibes because of course I'm gonna go and represent for my people.
Oh, I know you'll be there.
And this Sunday, Sunday, Puerto Rican weekend Sunday, I will be in the parade. So whoever sees me, scream to the top of your lungs. I will come over and take pictures with you if you want me to, as long as I can see you and hear you because it is really, really loud on that day down Fifth Avenue. Fun fact: Jarett never walked the Puerto Rican Day Parade until he walked 1 year with me.
Yeah.
It was me, him, his mom, and his mom's husband. He invited me to go with them to be in the parade because I was gonna go and be with somebody else at the parade, but he was like, "Oh, my mom got an extra wristband. You're coming with me." I'm like, "All right, cool." He's like, "Yo, I've never did this before." I'm like, "I'm gonna warn you because I've done this a few times already. When you turn onto Fifth Avenue, you're gonna feel emotional." He's like, I'm like, "You're gonna feel the crowd and you're gonna get emotional." That's what happened to me my first time. Trust me, I know, and I do get emotional every single time I do it. And I turn that corner and I feel the crowd. My eyes start to water because I feel like, hey, I'm proud, and this is the city that basically majority of Puerto Ricans migrated to find a better life, and this is where I'm a New Yorican. This is where I'm from, and these are my people. So it's like I told him, you're gonna feel this, and as soon as we turned that corner, his eyes watered up and he started to cry.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I told you. He was like, yo, you were right. You were right.
Oh my God.
Let's continue this walk. And we literally walked the whole parade together.
Wow.
And that was his first time ever doing it. And I was happy I was with him for his first time walking the parade. So he could have been an emotional wreck with me and not anybody else.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But I will be there this weekend.
Love that.
I'll be walking with the float Puerto Rican flags up. Shout out to them. They're inviting me for a second year to be a part of it. I'll be on the float with Ken Starr, who's another cool dude, another fun guy, and yeah, it's gonna be a blast on Sunday. And then I'll be in Puerto Rico in July with Jarett. We'll be wrestling out there.
Wow.
Right now, I don't have much going on for the month of June,
Yeah.
so it's a bit of a resting a nagging shoulder right now.
Okay.
For the meantime, and getting myself ready and prepared to go to Puerto Rico. But yeah,
very exciting.
And plus, like, sobbing over the Knicks losing the other day.
Damn.
Next year. But baseball's here, so my Yankees and my Mets are doing great. So I'm happy. Baseball is in full swing. So
good. Oh my
I
God.
am not mad. I'm not mad at all. I'm just sad the Knicks are not in the finals, but it's okay.
The Knicks will break your heart. My God.
The Knicks will nick, as me and my coworker say. The Knicks are gonna nick.
And that's all you can say about it, really, at this point.
Yes.
What a sin.
That's great.
Oh
Do you have any final questions, Kelsey?
No, I don't think I do. I would keep you here all night. This has been the best. This has been so awesome, and I'm so grateful you came on the show, and I cannot wait to see you again in person. Like, this has just been the best.
I wish we started a drinking game for every single time you said awesome.
Yeah. Honestly, maybe I'll have to start a count like in the on the screen somewhere so that the people can play at home.
We could do a watch party. Y'all will be wasted. And I'm gonna start doing it even at the next Mecca show. I'm gonna be turned at the Mecca show with those plastic cups of beer, which is lit. So
listen, fun fact, in the basement of the Mecca there's a bar.
Yes, we walked in there by accident one time.
We actually, I don't know if you listened to the whole Jarett Diaz story, but we ended up backstage at the Sábado Gigante event. We almost like walked into the building through the entrance curtain of the show, and we got to the entrance, and I like looked at it, and I was like, I've watched enough wrestling to know that if we go through that curtain, we're in the show.
We're in the show.
So I was like, let's not do that.
Awesome.
So we like went in through the bar. It was a whole thing. I think we didn't talk about it on the episode. We might have talked about it when we wrapped afterwards. But gotcha. We basically ended up backstage our first time there through the bar, up the back.
That bar is so cool.
Yeah, oh my God.
Me and Jarett, we shared shots with Flip Gordon.
Nice. That's great.
Wow.
Awesome.
Like so the more stories I could have told you guys, like my interaction with Will Ospreay a few years back, me hanging out with the Bucks and Cody at freaking Ring of Honor. Like,
oh my God!
Stories. Oh, we're gonna cross paths again. Don't worry.
You're gonna come back on the show without a doubt. You'll probably be our first return guest because
we love to gab. You love to gab. So
it's Gab City.
Hey, Kelsey, you have some homework to do now. You got more Eddie Guerrero
I do.
matches to go and find.
Oh yeah, and just wait till he makes his way over in WWE because we'll get there eventually also. So
thank you for sending that match also though. Like that,
really amazing.
You gotta watch their SummerSlam match, their WrestleMania match against each other. Those think the Halloween Havoc match that set the tone. All the other ones after that.
Because they both just get better with experience. So
I can't even fathom that in my
I know.
wrestling brain.
That's the problem.
And
they're too good.
I would also suggest watching Homicide versus Bryan Danielson, Manhattan Mayhem, when Homicide wins the Ring of Honor championship.
Yeah, that's a really, really good one, actually.
Amazing match.
Yeah.
That's one of the matches that made me the hugest Homicide fan. And we talk about that whenever we're around each other. That match comes up and we talk about it. Like, we were in the locker room with it was me, Homicide, Kenta, and Mac, and we were talking about Ring of Honor. We were talking about like matches. When Kenta mentioned it, Kenta started talking about it first, and Homicide looks at me and goes, and I'm like, Kenta goes, what? Kenta goes, what happened? I'm like, that's my favorite match. And he was like, what? Oh my God. And we start talking about it with each other. So I'm there, again, wrestling fan inside. I'm like, oh my God, I'm talking freaking wrestling with Kenta. My professional shop is like, yeah.
Love
But
that.
that match, and then there's another one. You go back to Ring of Honor, it's the Outlaws, which is Eddie Kingston and Homicide versus the Briscoes.
Oh, the Briscoes.
They go bananas.
Yeah.
They go bananas to the point where they start the fight. This was a regular tag match. They're not listening to none of the rules, neither team. Mm-mm. So they're making a no DQ match, false count anywhere. And they go bananas on each other. Tables broken, guardrails bent, chairs thrown at each other's heads. It was an amazing fight.
Oh my God.
That.
Must watch. I got my list. I got my homework. I'm clocking in.
Oh, and he'll clocking in. Matt's gonna follow up. I know he will.
So. Oh, I will. I definitely will. And you got to watch me versus Steve Peña just so you can.
Oh my God, definitely.
You can hear the gunshots because those are gunshots.
They're brutal. But all right, Matt, thank you so much for coming on to the show. I'm gonna wrap us up. Thank you guys for watching, listening, commenting, subscribing wherever you find the New to Wrestling podcast. For our special guest, Matt, Awesome, Kelsey, my name's Xavier. We will catch you on the next one.
We will see you there.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.